Good evening. I am Bob Salas. I'm the Director of Neighborhood and Family Services, and we have several other city departments represented. We have Ms. Allison Strube from the Water Department. We have Mr. Shane Kelton from the Operations Department. And we have Ms. Becky Guerra from Planning. Hopefully, between us four, we'll be able to answer all your questions. I was dealing with infrastructure and those kind of things. We're here this evening to talk about an affordable housing project on the north side of town. It's called Kirby Park Villas. And it's a project that's competing for low-income housing tax credits through the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. Now, that's a lot of acronyms and names, but I think what's important to know is that tax credits are a way to reduce the cost of construction in order to make things and projects affordable. That's the bottom line. You may recall that last year, we had two projects that competed for tax credits, and neither got funded. Come on in. This year, I think we have more promise with this project for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's in a neighborhood that we targeted for revitalization. It's called the Blackshear neighborhood. That's number one. And secondly, it's targeting. The development is for senior low-income citizens. And you may realize that we have an aging America. St. Angelo's no different. The population is getting older. In fact, we have about 17% of the population 62 and over. By 2020, we'll be in the 20%. So you can see that affordable housing for seniors is going to be very important. It's going to be a big issue, and this will be a nice shot in the arm to get it started, to kind of close that gap a little bit. We have Mr. Paul Holden here from Zimmerman Properties LLC. He's representing the developer, and I'm going to introduce him, and he can take over. Paul?
Thank you, everybody. I'm Paul Holden, and I'm with Zimmerman Properties in San Marcos, Texas. And I was here last year in front of you, and I appreciate you letting me come back in front of you again. But we have a little different product type in a different location that we're proposing this year. And this is 72 units of senior housing. Now, let me go back a little bit for what Mr. Salas had to say. This is the program that we use. It's a tax credit program, and it was created back in 1986 with the Tax Reform Act under Ronald Reagan's administration. And for some reason, they termed this as low-income housing tax credits. And it's a bit of a misnomer because even though that is what they call it, it is a tax credit program that brings equity into our project and does reduce the amount of funds that we'll have to borrow in a conventional manner. But the property that we're proposing is a three-story. This is one that we built in Oklahoma a few years ago. This is the same architecture that we are proposing for the Kirby Park Villas. And this property was a little bit larger, which it had some garages in it, and I don't think we're going to have garages on this one, but we may have some storage units for the residents and that type thing. But this is a fully card key controlled entry into the property, so it's exceptionally secure. This particular property, this was the lobby that we put in, and some of the common area that because what we like to have is for the seniors, and this will be 62 and older. We rarely have someone that's 62 in our property, but I'm eligible now by 1 year. So, well, we typically it's an aging population, and our tenant base is usually in our mid-70s, and they're typically women. We have a community room, we have an exercise room, we have several meeting areas, and we put as many amenities into this property as we possibly can. It's going to be a combination of 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and 2 bedroom baths, and it'll be 24 1 bedrooms and 48 2 bedrooms, tentatively anyway. We're still in a very, very preliminary stage of the process, but the 1 bedroom is 724 square feet, and the 2 bedrooms are 972 square feet. And what we typically have is that we'll have people come in and they'll say, "Where's the rest of it?" And we'll know these are 1 and 2 bedrooms. And they say, "Yes, well, you don't understand. We just sold our house, and I have all these things we had for all these years, and where am I going to put it?" So, Well, we have storage unit, maybe that will help. But we do have families, especially ladies that have lost their husbands, and they have lived in their home 50 years, and they have collected a lot of things. So we try to be sensitive to those issues. Now, there's going to be 7 of the units are going to be market rate, so there'll be no income or rent restrictions on them. And the rates that we are tentatively, I'm sorry, my own slideshow, and I missed it. Anyway, of those, we'll have 7 others will be market rate, but we're planning tentatively for the rents to run from $200 to $800. And this is going to be based on the income of the resident and how many people are, whether it's a single person or whether there's 2 people, it'll affect their rate. And for the lower end rent over $200, that's a relatively low rent, but we find then there's only a few of those that we're going to have. There's going to be 7 of them, but we'll find that there are ladies that have lost their husband, and this is typical, not always, but ladies that have lost their husband, they died unexpectedly, they didn't have a lot of savings, she's on Social Security, and this is a program that will help that particular person at least be in a very good, clean, safe place to live for the rest of her life if she so chooses. And from there, it's going to go up. The market rate units will go up to about $800. Unit-wise, they'll have the kitchens will be fully equipped with all the latest type of equipment. And the living rooms and bedrooms will all be fully carpeted and have ceiling fans. And we have, I can't explain it all because we have packed these things with a lot of amenities. And the price to build this is about $120,000 per unit. And so it's not going to be a cheap property to build, but we're going to put as much as we can into this to make this particular portion of San Angelo very proud of what we build. And the other reason we're going to do is that I never want to come back in front of you and you say, well, you didn't build a very nice property. I would look to overbuild it so that everyone here comes to me and says, you know, that really is a pretty place. And everybody I talk to there is very happy and living there. Let's go back now. This is located on East 29th Street at the corner of East 29th and Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. This is our architect took that aerial photograph of Google and put this on there. But right in this area is where the Walmart is, and then a little bit further to the south is I believe it's Walgreens, I believe, yes. Yep, and there's a strip center there, and there's several other things around it. This area, right in through here, yes, this is the strip center here, and the Walgreens is further towards Bryant Avenue, I believe. This area here is a bit of an industrial area. There's a miscellaneous type things there, and across Martin Luther King Drive is another that's a little bit of industrial. And I think what's going to happen is that once we build the property, is that we've laid this out so that it orients itself both towards Bryant Avenue and to the retail centers. And I think you're going to see some level of gentrification coming into some of these areas because this little area through here is the property values are about to go up. And I think ultimately one day you'll see them sell that off for some type of commercial use, as well as the other things around us. We expect that we'll probably have a different land use in the future. Yes, ma'am.
So you're not taking into the corner of Martin Luther King and 29?
No, there is a strip of land there. Let me.
If you would please get up to the microphone if you have any questions, because we are live and they can't hear you unless you come up to the microphone. So please, I know it's maybe a little intimidating, but if you would, just get to the microphone and ask the questions.
The property that we have under contract does not go to the corner. That property was not available for purchase. And so we're just off of that corner. And There's miscellaneous buildings there, but that's the area that I think in the future, I think their values are going to go up substantially, and I think they're going to be, whoever owns that's going to be some happy owners one day. So that is what we've planned, and I would love to take questions now for anybody who would like to. I'll stay here as long as you're required to answer any questions that you may have.
I was reluctant to mention that the city's participation in this whole project is that we will go to council on next Tuesday and ask for a resolution of support. So if you're supportive of this project, please show up and make your opinions heard. They'll go a long way to get it approved. And if you have any questions, please come up and if you would, just mention your name and speak into the mic.
Are we turned on? My name is Linda Shoemaker, and I'm just here to say I've missed your presentation, but I've read about it in the newspaper, and I hope that was accurate. And of course, we're counting on it to be.
I haven't seen the newspaper article, so I can't.
Well,
I have a handout here for you to take with you that'll tell you.
yes, okay, good. I believe it's in the paper sometime this weekend, maybe. And I certainly support this proposed housing project for low-income seniors at Martin Luther King and 29th Street. I think we need more housing in San Angelo, and the newspaper article seemed to indicate that there was a lack of public support for one previously proposed housing project, and so...
It was not a seniors community, though. That was last year. It was
All
a
right.
family property on the southern part of town.
So I hope this one won't fail for lack of community support, and that's why I'm here.
Well, thank you
Thank
very much. Us seniors need the help. I'm 63. Oh, bless your heart and happy birthday. I hope I look as young as you do when I'm that age.
Good evening. My name is Billy DeWitt. I just have some questions about what you have on the screen there.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, the entrance of the property, is that coming off of 29th Street?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
It'll enter right here. That's the clubhouse where our leasing agents will be. But
Okay.
there is a light right there on 29th, and that's where we wanted the interest to come in.
okay. Now, could you back up to the slide that showed the statistics on the one-bedroom, two-bedroom, and walk through either the one-bedroom or the two-bedroom, what that means?
Well, what this is that we have to base our, it's all based on income levels, and rents are capped at a certain rate, and it's based on the average median income of Tom Green County. So, and the unit type, the 30% of average median income will be a calculation of, I forget what the average median income here, but it's about $60,000, I believe. And so the Internal Revenue Service has created that formula, and so they'll calculate that and say, given this, Paul, the people that come in for these 7 units here cannot make more than X amount of dollars, and you're going to agree to reduce their rates down to a certain amount. Now, the 7 units will be the ones that are in the $200-ish range, okay? And then it goes to a different income band, which is a 50% of the average median income. This 50% range is typically what you'll see most of the renters in Class B properties. That'll be their income rate. And again, there's 5 one-bedrooms and 8 two-bedrooms, and they'll say that given that and the Tom Green average median income, we're going to say that those people cannot make more than X amount of dollars, and you're going to cap the rents at a certain amount for that. Then it's going to go to 60%, which is the same calculation, just they can make a little bit more income. And then on the market rates, there will be 7 of those, and those will be whatever rent the market will bear, and there is no income restrictions for the residents in those. I know the Internal Revenue Service, you gotta love them, because they can take a simple concept and make it so confusing that no one can understand it. And I've been doing this for 20 years, and it's when I start explaining something, it can get confusing very quickly. But it has to do with the rent structure, how much you can charge, and the amount of income that those residents can make. I cannot go over that.
Okay. So at 60% of the average median income, that's where the most of the apartments will be, yet you said it's low income, senior low income?
Yes, ma'am. These rents will, I don't have the rent structures on these, but I mean, for those, you'll be talking maybe $500, $550 rents, something like that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I hope I answered your questions.
You did.
Okay, good. It is. Hmm? Well, I tell you what, higher math has never been my strong suit, and I can look at those. I can add a column of numbers up 3 times and come up with a different number every time, so. Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be here for a while. If anyone has any questions, other questions, I'll be here, and I'll stay here as long as you need to answer all questions that you may have. Yes, ma'am.
So is this a foregone conclusion? Is this definitely going to happen? Or what will it take to kind of ensure that it happens from your perspective? I know I understood what Mr. Salas said about, the city council, but from Zimmerman Properties, what would it take?
Well, here's the process that happens. And the state of Texas has a certain amount of money for the whole state that they issue for tax credits. And then they cut those into, there's 13 service regions in Texas. And this particular region has X amount of dollars. And so what we do is every developer, we all have a set of rules that we have to go by. And we'll put in an application. And then the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs will take all those applications and they'll go through and they'll score them. And whoever has the highest score will receive the allocation of funding. It is an exceptionally competitive business that we're in. But like I said, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I don't mind getting down and dirty with them just to get a project done. So I can't, no, it's not a foregone conclusion, but we'll be bidding against, we don't know how many other applicants there will be because they don't make pre-applications going on the 8th of January. And then we'll have a better idea of how many there are and how we'll score compared to them. But I think this community has a very, very good chance, I think, of being successful.
Does someone locally here have a score sheet? Bob, do you have the score sheet on how it's scored?
Guys, I can get that to you. It's on the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. It's on their website.
Say that again, would you?
It's the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. And I'll tell you what, before we leave, I will sit with you, I'll open my computer, and we'll go through, and I'll put you on the right web page and show you where that is.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So what else can we do to help with the score?
Well, nothing at this point. Just your support is what we need right now. And there's a lot of different scoring criteria. One of them is going to be a letter of support from the city, and there will a resolution of support. Excuse me. And there will be a letter of support from Representative Darby's office, and.
I can't speak for the council, but we will present next week, and we'll have an opportunity to look at the project, and hopefully they'll support it.
They have been supportive of our properties in the past. Yes. Mm-hmm.
This is just for the funding. After this is done, and if City Council gives their support, and if they get the money from the state to move forward, there's still a series of processes that need to go through with the city. So even if this is done, you still have to have a conditional use for the property. The property has to be replatted. It has to go through the build permit process. So these are all steps that are not done within a week. These are series of months in order for all of these, even before they break ground. So this is just step one of many, 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 many steps.
Who's the city council member for this address?
For Blackshear, I can check, but I believe it's Gonzalez.
This side is Mr. Self.
Mr. Self, so it's District 2? So it's Marty Self, District 2. Phone number and an email on our website.
We'll also be working very closely with the city. Our architects and engineers will be spending quite a lot of time with the city. This is a process that's very normal, and we go through this with every city to make sure that what we're designing and building meets all of their codes and requirements, that type thing. Yes, sir.
Craig Myers, in terms of what you can do, both city council people who aren't here, as well as citizens, 2 projects that did not make it through the process, that did not have the sort of support that they needed. It's not just kind of competitive. We were down there for 3 years to get the one in Blackshear.
Oh, I remember you. I saw you had green T-shirts on, I believe.
Yeah,
Yes.
That was
Yes.
We'll sink to any depths. But
I will do the same thing.
But I'll tell you something.
Yes, sir.
To get that one, Mr. Darby was very, very supportive. He's not always been supportive of all the things, and he is an elected official, and that means he counts votes. And I think that in particularly the one of Valley View, a number of people who came out as adamantly opposed to it as they were helps people make up their minds who are elected officials.
Yes.
And we want this, and we need it. I think that you need to start contacting him for support. That's
Yes.
really, really critical. It turned out to be essential. And one of the things that you really need to deal with, real estate fluctuates a great deal, and we certainly know that here with the oil boom and then the kind of bust. But when the oil boom occurred, we had hundreds and hundreds of older residents at risk.
Yes.
Who were living on the margin and suddenly were just moved out of their properties because they could
Couldn't
raise
afford it.
the rent.
Yeah.
And I think that we know we still have those people at risk, and we need this kind of project, and we need as a community to support it, and we need to assist that our council people and our folks down in Austin know how badly we need it, because their support's going to be critical. Thank
Yes,
you.
it is. It is. And you're right about seniors falling off the grid. It unfortunately happens everywhere I go. I see that there is a senior community that's a rather silent community that unless you look for them, don't see them. But they are, some of them, below poverty level. And it's very sad to see. But we're going to try to help that. And this property is very close to shopping, and we think that we'll have some van service to shuttle back and forth to where they need to go to. So I think it's going to be a good thing for everyone. Yes, ma'am.
One more time.
Uh-huh.
I spoke to the mayor last night, who dropped by a Christmas party where I was, and I told him about the meeting tonight. He seemed a little bit maybe not aware of it. And he said, well, they've already got da-da-da, and they've already got da-da-da, you know. But would you have to live in a certain area of the city to qualify to rent an apartment here? So there's no they to it, right? I mean, it's us. It's us.
There's only one senior community that's a tax credit property in San Angelo. It's right across from the convention center, as a matter of fact. And
There's only one what now?
affordable housing property.
Well, so we
For
may have
seniors.
For
education.
seniors, yes.
There are other
Oh, there are,
other
but-
developments
Right,
that
but-
they do earmark for
Yes.
seniors.
But just for seniors, there's only one.
So let's do some educating. We need to pull some ears. I'll pull Wayne's.
We'll have a chance on Tuesday.
I appreciate your
presentation.
I appreciate your support on that. Thank you. Mr. Salas? I will be here. I'll be in the back of the room. Whoever would like to talk to me, I'll be glad to stay and to answer all your questions. Thank you again.
Thank you all for coming. I do have a sheet going around for your name, and if you want information, please put your email or per email or a phone number, and I can contact you if you want me. If you want, for example, a QAP that you're looking for, Ms. Dewitt, I'll be able to provide that for you. We also have copies of the details for the project. We have copies of the zoning information that you may be interested in. And we'll be hanging around for the next few minutes if you want to ask more questions. Otherwise, thank you very much. Appreciate it.